This is the Weekly Firecast, Episode 5, interview with Chef Bud Selmi of Sizzlin Sauces, plus Chilehead reviewer Ryan Graub.
Strap yourselves in. It's time for the Weekly Firecast. This is the podcast for all foodies, those who love food that is cooked over a fire or feels like fire in your mouth. If you love spice, smoke, sauce, and all things savory, this is the show for you. Now, here's your host, Chilehead and barbecuer, Scott Roberts.
Welcome, everybody, to the Weekly Firecast. It's my aim that this podcast be a one-stop shop for all things hot and spicy. If you love barbecue and grilling, if you dig all of that, well, this is your place. Thanks for joining me again. I have a couple special guests in this episode. The first one is Chef Bud Selmi of Sizzlin Sauces. He makes a terrific lineup of products, which I also review later. And then later in this episode, I talk with Chilehead and reviewer Ryan Graub of RG Sauce Reviews, and he's also done a number of other reviews for other Chilehead blogs out there. And before we get to those, I want to thank everyone for listening and downloading and subscribing to this podcast via iTunes. If you're listening for the first time, I urge you to go to twoguystalking.com/firecast, click on the iTunes link, and subscribe and take a listen to some of the back episodes. Let me know what you think. There's also a contact form on that same page on the twoguystalking.com/firecast site. Scroll down a little bit, go to the left-hand side, fill out the form, let me know what you think. If you're in the barbecue industry, if you're in the hot sauce industry, anything to do with the food that tastes like fire in your mouth or the food that you cook over fire, I want to hear from you if you want to be a guest. If you'd like your product reviewed, be sure to fill out the form and let me know. I'd also like to throw out a mention to the creator of the music that you hear on the Weekly Firecast. His name is Finn. Of all places he's from, it's Oslo, Norway, but he is a great blues slide guitarist. I will throw up the link in the show notes at scottrobertsweb.com/weeklyfirecast or twoguystalking.com/firecast. Listen to his music. It's down, dirty, hard rockin', slide guitar. I fell in love with it. I'm very fortunate that he's let me use his music for the podcast. Plus, I want to remind everyone, if you're a fan of the Showtime program Dexter, yes, that Dexter, about this serial killer of serial killers, co-host Mike Wilkerson and I will review every episode of the 7th season of Dexter in our podcast, the Two Guys Talking Dexter podcast. So just hop on over to twoguystalking.com here in just a few short weeks, and we will be underway.
And now, the review of the week.
I actually have 7 products from Sizzlin Sauces that I'm going to review for you. I'm going to go through them pretty quick, just kind of give you a brief overview of what they are, what they taste like, and what my rating is on them. Now, first of all, I'll start off with the 2, jarred oddities. And they're not really odd, but they're not hot sauces by any stretch of the imagination. First one is Mojo's Tapenade, which, if you're not familiar with the tapenade, it's like a spread, kind of like a salsa. It's chunky. It's often used on bread, toast, crackers. Some adventurous people have used it as a spread or topper on meat. And I tried it with chicken. Exceptionally good. Tapenades generally have things like capers and olives in it. This does have olives, peppers, onions, tomatoes. It's a really rich and complex taste. This is one of the best tapenades I've had so far, and I would give this a 4 out of 5. Next from Sizzlin Sauce's jarred goodies is Raising Cane Garlic Relish. Now, this has the consistency of a very kind of watery salsa, and this particular relish has a very sweet quality to it. Almost so much, in fact, that to me it almost tastes like a pepper jelly. It's got that nice sugary, fruity kind of flavor to it, and there's a strong garlic presence, but it's more of a sweet garlic. You know, if you've roasted garlic before, it kind of loses the really high-end pungency, and that really strong taste is really subdued, and what remains is kind of the sweet and flavorful tones. This is the type of garlic taste that's in here, and it melds beautifully, with the rest of the kind of fruity ingredients in this. Me, I'm still kind of exploring what I like this on, so what I have left of the review jar, I'm just trying it out on different things, but so far it's been a big hit in my estimation. And my rating on this would be a solid 4.5 out of 5. Terrific product. And next are the 5 hot sauces in the Sizzling Sauces lineup. Now, one thing in common with all 5 sauces is that they're all ketchup-based and they all use habaneros for the heat. While they are all similar in flavor profile, they're not all copycat sauces. And the first one, I guess, would be the flagship product in the Sizzlin Sauces line called Spit and Fire. And this one is a general good all-purpose hot sauce. It doesn't skimp on the heat, has a really sweet vegetable kind of like back into it. Now, if you know me well, I'm not a big fan of olive oil, and I'm not a big fan of olives used in a lot of sauces and spreads. Now, this is a big exception to that. I like the extra virgin olive oil presence in this. It's in there, and it's not too dominant. It doesn't overpower all the other flavors. And Chef Bud allows the habaneros, the natural flavor and heat from those, to peek through. The sweetness from the ketchup, the onion, the garlic, the carrot juice. You can even taste a little bit of honey in this. It's all wrapped up nicely, and this one I would give a 3 out of 5. Next up is Papa Jack's Buffalo Hot Sauce. And I'm not sure why it's titled Buffalo. I think that's a little misleading. To me, it's nothing like the classical buffalo or hot wing sauce. It's very similar to Spit and Fire sauce, which I had just mentioned. This one kind of has a lower end and slightly sweeter flavor. This one, too, has extra virgin olive oil in it. Has a little bit of steak sauce, according to the ingredients. But it still has that kind of ketchup-y, tomatoey, sweet goodness to it. The chili peppers really don't scream out as much as Spit and Fire did, but still very enjoyable. To me, this would be more of like a meat top, something for hot dogs, burgers, maybe even steak. I haven't tried it on that yet, but I'm going to one of these days. I actually like the overall flavor profile of this a little bit more, so I'm going to award it a half point more, 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the third sauce I'm going to review is Howlin' Howard, hot sauce with pumpkin. Now, pumpkin's kind of one of those odd ingredients. I've never been a big fan of them in any hot sauces. I know a few sauce makers have tried. Never been extremely successful with it. To me, pumpkin has that kind of really low-end, sugary, squashy kind of flavor. And it's just never been a big hit with my tongue in the whole fiery foods world. This may be the first hot sauce with pumpkin that I kind of liked. And I think it harmonizes well with the ketchup. This has prickly pear and cactus fruit in it. I mean, there's honey, there's a number of other kind of ingredients where I don't think this is extremely versatile, but it might be good on things like chicken and fish. It does have a little bit of habanero heat, and I would have to give this one also 3.5 out of 5. Next up at bat is Chili Sweet Sensation Hot Sauce for Wings. And just like Papa Jack's, this one really isn't your traditional kind of buffalo, tangy, sweet, buttery flavor. This is, I can imagine, a very sweet, fruity flavor wings because this has key lime, mango, and pomegranate. I would say out of all the 5 of the hot sauces, this is the sweetest. You really taste kind of the low-end kind of fruity flavor tones. And the first look at this may seem really odd to your palate, but the more you eat, the more you like of this. And like the other ones, there is a little bit of habanero in this. It doesn't skimp on the heat. And just like the previous 2, I would give this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. And last but certainly not least is Creepin' Quag Hot Sauce. Now, this is not radically different from the very first one that I mentioned, Spit and Fire, but this one does kind of have a fruitier vibe to it. A little more sweet, but to me it also packed a little bit of a hotter punch. And I would say out of the 5 hot sauces, this would be the most versatile. And let me just tell you straight out, this is some really, really great tasting sauce. And I can imagine this on some fish tacos, on pizza, on just about any kind of meat out there. You know, burgers and chicken and fish. This would hold up exceptionally well. And this one I would rate 4.5 out of 5 stars. So I certainly saved the best for the last when it came to the hot sauces. But all in all, it's a very good above average product line from Chef Bud and Sizzlin Sauces. And like maybe I mentioned, these are not your run-of-the-mill sauces. As much as I love things like Marie Sharp's Fiery Hot Habanero, where you get a lot of the habanero and the carrot and the sweet kind of vegetable taste, these add kind of a slightly different flavor because of the ketchup and a little bit more of the fruit introduced. So I really like these. So if you're interested in trying these, be sure to go to sizzlinsauces.com. As always, you can just click the link in the show notes.
And now, the Fire Talkers interview.
I recently spoke to Chef Bud Selmi of Sizzlin Sauces. Now, his products have won 54 national awards, including several Scovie Awards and several Golden Chile Awards. And he was kind enough to send me his entire product line for review, and there was not a weak one in the lot. They were all very good, high-quality products with just a slightly off-kilter flavor profiles, and I mean that in a good way, by the way, that I like. They are unique, they're tasty, they're sweet. So I was very happy to speak with Chef Bud and kind of ask him a little bit how he got started, how he creates his products. So here is the interview. Chef Bud, thank you very much for joining me. First off, I wanted to ask you, how did you get your start in the industry?
Well, I actually, in 2002, had a bumper crop of habaneros. Wanted to know what to do with them, and made a batch of hot sauce, and all of my friends said, geez, this is really good. You should bottle it and sell it. So that's kind of how I got my start.
And as far as your culinary experience, you went to culinary school. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, I actually went to the School of Hard Knocks. I came up through the ranks and through the American Culinary Federation, became a certified chef. And when I was working in the culinary field, decided that if that's what I was going to do, I'd work to be the best that I could. So that's kind of how I got my start in the culinary field.
And when it came to, you mentioned you had a big crop of habaneros. Would you consider yourself a Chilehead, someone who really loves the intense spicy stuff?
Well, that's how, I always had one of my favorite foods was hot and spicy, so I had some habanero plants, and so, yeah, I would classify myself as a Chilehead, yes.
Now, when you started creating the spicy products of it, did you experiment a little? How did you develop the first sauce, and then what was that product?
Well, that's a great question, because that was Spit and Fire hot sauce, and actually, because of my culinary background, I nailed the recipe on the first try. What I put together for the ingredients is actually what is still the original sauce, which is Spit and Fire. We have 6 hot sauces and 2 relishes that we make, and out of all of the recipes that I've developed, there was only one that I did 3 times. Other than that, all of the recipes were first shot, and called it good.
That's very lucky. I've talked to a lot of hot sauce manufacturers. It's taken them weeks, months, even years to really, I guess it might have been, a byproduct of their personality, but it took them a long time to finally nail something to where they were happy with it. Now, I've tried your sauces here. Very good, very unique. Do you have a lot of sweet tones and the whole flavor profile? And I noticed, do you use ketchup in all of them?
Yeah, ketchup is the base for all of the sauces, and some of them are sweet, some of them are not quite as sweet, but it depends on whether you like a sweet sauce or a hot and spicy sauce. Like I said, all of the sauces, it was first time, basically the first recipe that I came up with was what I went with.
And when you developed your sauces, did you aim for something beforehand? I mean, did you think, I need a sauce that has more of a, like a mango or key lime flavor? Or did you just kind of add a bunch of ingredients in and just have it come out to be whatever the end results were?
Well, yeah, exactly. I was looking for a certain profile, and because of my culinary background, I combined different flavors where the sauce that has won the most national awards is the Creep and Quag, which is a cranberry, plum, and prickly pear cactus. And I was kind of looking for that cranberry flavor with a punch, and I think that's what we delivered.
Like I said, they're very unique, and they're very good. I have not done a formal review on my website yet, but just tasting these, this week, I was very pleasantly surprised. One of the things that I was really surprised was the integration of like olives or olive oil. And I've tasted a few prior products from other sauce manufacturers. They just weren't able to nail it, to just adding that kind of olive flavor. It was, with those other people, it kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, but you are able to integrate that flavor very well with these. What was the whole process behind doing that?
Well, part of, all of my sauces have olive oil in them, except for the Raisin Cane garlic relish. And, that partly comes from my background. I'm of Italian descent. And, that's a little bit of Italian flair in there is the olive oil.
And then with the Mojo's tapenade, it's a very complex, very sweet. I really can't say much more than deep and complex. What was the thought process behind creating that?
Well, I'm a favorite fan of Greek olives and sun-dried tomatoes, and that was the base for developing that relish. And the other ingredients, just kind of garlic and onion and lime juice and olive oil, and just combined all of those ingredients with some bell peppers, and I think I hit a home run.
I think you did as well, and I'm a big fan of the garlic relish that you have as well. It's extremely sweet, fruity, almost like a pepper jelly type taste, but you get that kind of the sweet edge from the garlic. People always associate garlic with very high-end, pungent, strong, but you're able to take the sweetness of that and integrate it very well with almost like a fruit-based type product.
Yeah, originally when that is one of the recipes that I kind of tweaked a little bit. Originally when I developed the Raising Cane garlic relish, it was with whole cloves of garlic. And everybody, when they saw the product, thought they were mushrooms because the cloves kind of turn a little bit brownish. So then I started chopping it up. And when I did that, then the relish really took off, and people accepted it a lot better.
And just looking at your website, do you create barbecue sauces as well?
I don't have a barbecue sauces for sale. Some of the products that are on my website are other folks that manufacture that I kind of just put on the website to balance out what I have. I have the 6 hot sauces, and the 2 relishes are what I manufacture.
All yours. Okay, yeah. So that's what I received. So I guess I should ask you, you have a Hot Sauce of the Month club. Tell me a little bit about that.
I do. Well, we have the 3 months or the 6 months or the ultimate 12 months, which is we throw in the Baker's Dozen and get a 13th month for free. And the Hot Sauce of the Month features our sauces as well as some other sauces that we seek out that kind of balance out what we're doing. So it's kind of... if you do the 3 months, you pretty much get all of our sauces, and then the 6 months and the 12 months, we mingle in some other products that we search out for.
And then you have a couple of NFL specials going on right now?
Oh, we do. NFL season's coming up, and tailgating is huge. So we're doing, for those folks that are on Facebook and Twitter, during the NFL season, if you Twitter the special, we will add in an extra bottle of hot sauce for every 2 that anybody buys. We'll throw in a free bottle. And then for the Hot Sauce of the Month Club, if someone signs up for the 3 months, they'll get a free bottle as well.
Oh, very good. Very good deal. I want to ask you a few questions about yourself. Describe a typical day for you.
Typical day? Well, it's funny you mention that. I'm kind of a grassroots type of a company. I get up around 4:30, head to the kitchen to make hot sauce 5 days a week. I have a full-time job, so when I finish making the hot sauce around 7:30 in the morning, I head off to my full-time job. In the afternoon, when I get home around 6, then I pack orders, ship those, get those ready to ship out the following day, and do it again the next day.
And there you go. What are some of your biggest sellers as far as the products that you have right now?
Well, the biggest seller, again, the Creep and Quag has won the most national awards, so that's one of the biggest sellers. The Triple X also is a leader in sales, along with the relishes. One of the reasons that all of our sauces are so popular is the fact that we've won so many national awards, 54 national awards to date, and we have some upcoming competitions, the Scovie Awards, the Fiery Foods Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas, and the Hot Pepper Awards in New York City. The Scovie Awards is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we're hoping, I never put all my eggs in one basket or count my chickens before they hatch. We're hoping that we can win a few more awards this year.
With these products, I wouldn't doubt that you have a really good chance of doing that. What is your favorite product that you create?
Well, again, one that's won the most national awards, Creep and Quag, is kind of dear to my heart. I really love the flavor profile of that sauce. And I think out of all of the sauces that I've created, that one, I really nailed the recipe with that, and it goes well with anything coming off of the grill, pork, chicken, beef. It just combines with anything that you're cooking.
And here's a question I ask a lot of people. What is your favorite spicy product that you yourself don't make?
Well, Cajuns has some really good hot sauces. I'm not a favor of some of the sauces that use capsaicin extract because I think they don't have a lot of flavor. So I try to seek out sauces that have a lot of flavor, kind of like what I do.
And it's funny you kind of mentioned that. I think a lot of sauce manufacturers, they, I guess, unlearned as far as the hardcore chili heads out there. We hate the taste of capsaicin extract with a passion. It just adds a nasty, bitter kind of chemical flavor to it.
Yes.
And a lot of them, they think, oh, I can, cater to them and add some of this. Well, it ruins sauces for us. Just tasting your sauces, not only do you have a good flavor, but it's a good heat, too. And it seems like you're not afraid to really utilize the habanero for the heat as well.
Well, the habaneros are my favorite pepper because of the flavor. The habaneros have a bit of a sweet flavor. That's why I like them so much.
And they do. And like I said, you really are able to utilize the heat from it as well. I think a lot of people are just kind of scared to, because I guess maybe they're just worried about the general public would think that the sauces are too hot.
Right. Well, again, anybody can make a hot sauce hot, but making a hot sauce with a lot of flavor is a lot more difficult.
What advice would you give any up-and-coming hot sauce manufacturers out there?
Well, if you think that it's going to come very quickly, it's a lot of hard work and it's a struggle, but if you keep at it, hopefully you'll succeed.
And any mistakes that you made in the past that you think others would be able to learn from?
Well, everybody always says, what's your next sauce? What do you have coming out that's new? And you don't want to grow too fast because you want to be able to keep up with your production.
Okay, good answer. Let's say you had unlimited time, unlimited capital, and unlimited resources. Would there be any type of sauce or product or service that you would create? I guess anything, a dream product or service that maybe you've had in the back of your mind?
Well, I have a lot of different ideas for sauces and recipes, and it just takes capital to help that materialize.
And again, I urge everyone listening to this to take advantage of the deals, the Hot Sauce of the Month Club special. You mentioned the Facebook special. Chef Bud, is there any last-minute things that you want to promote or plug or mention?
Just my motto is yearn for the burn. And again, just check us out at sizzlinsauces.com.
Well, excellent. I thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Well, thank you.
We're going to take a little break right now, but we'll return right after these messages.
The Two Guys Talking Nostalgia Engine is here, and we need your help. Two Guys Talking has begun stockpiling reviews of great, classic movies, and we want to know what you want us to review. Access twoguystalking.com now and tell us which classic movies on DVD and Blu-ray we should put into the Two Guys Talking Perspective Review crosshairs and help us fuel the internet's best repository for engaging, nostalgic feature film reviews. Access twoguystalking.com and click any one of the Nostalgia Engine pictures. Tell us which movies you want right now. Action, horror, comedies, even the occasional rom-com. Access twoguystalking.com. That's the number 2, guystalking.com. The Nostalgia Engine. Ride in nostalgic style while you listen. twoguystalking.com.
Are you tired of paying outrageous prices for proprietary office software? Is half of the budget for your new PC dedicated to buying expensive applications? Or do you simply live in fear that a multinational corporation might sue you for the thousands of dollars of unauthorized software you have on your PC? Well, fear not! Freedom Sampler is here! With Freedom Sampler, you can experience guilt-free computing for the first time without opening your wallet. Freedom Sampler provides a full office suite, a full-featured photo editor, web browsing and email, and much more, all without any cost, and all without replacing your current operating system. Visit freedomsampler.com to download your free copy today. Freedom Sampler. Taste the freedom.
You're listening to a podcast appearing on the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network.
And we are back. Following is my chat with Chilehead and reviewer Ryan Graub. He's a fellow St. Louisan and a good friend of mine. One beautiful day recently, we were out in the backyard of this house, just grilling up some pork steaks and chicken, sitting back, enjoying a few beers, and just decided to record a little bit of our conversation. Now, Ryan has a nice deadpan style, but he's never lacking an opinion, and he has lots of opinions, especially when it comes to chili peppers and hot sauce. Now, Ryan is very experienced when it comes to both of those topics. He's a chili pepper grower himself. He's tasted hundreds and hundreds of hot sauces. He knows his stuff. And he's also been a reviewer for several Chilehead blogs. He's written for me before for ScottRobertsWeb.com. He's been a video reviewer for I Love It Spicy. He's done HotSauceAddict.com, PeppersandMore.com, and, of course, his own blog, which you can find at RGSauceReview.com. So here is a little off-the-cuff conversation with Ryan Graub. I am sitting here with Chilehead and reviewer Ryan Graub. It's a little impromptu conversation. We're having it outside on his porch on this beautiful fall day. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Pretty good. For people who don't know you, Ryan, just give a little bit of background on yourself.
I've been, I guess, a Chilehead for quite some time now. I started growing chilies back when I was still in my teenage years, probably about 15, 16 years, and now I'm just about going on 36. So I've been actually a grower for most of my Chilehead career, so to speak.
Yeah, your whole life.
But it wasn't until recently, well, not recently, but within, the last 10, 15 years that I opened up actually an old chili pepper magazine, before the new, whoever's running it now. Mm-hmm. And because I was kind of curious, so, I really had a love for heat and the flavor of chilies, but I never really knew, okay, this is how I grow it, but what do I do with it? And that kind of got me into hot sauces because I saw ads for hot sauces. So nowadays I still do the growing, and I now just like everyone have to grow the hottest and the latest craze, along with my favorites. And I'm also a reviewer for my own site, which is RGSauceReview.com, and I've done work for ILoveItSpicy.com. Did a story for Scott Roberts Web on the last
the Fiery Food
Show, and I used to do some stuff for Hot Sauce Addict and Peppers and More.
So you've been all around the blogging world.
Yeah, I think I've had, like you said, like one of your last year's story, I have had my hand in every fiery pie, or guess, so to speak. So I've been around.
So when it comes to hot sauces, do you have any particular favorite companies, favorite flavor profiles? What do you like to eat?
Well, I don't tend to gravitate towards the really sweet stuff. I mean, I've lately, and I guess the last 6 months or so, I've been getting to kind of gravitate towards sweeter sauces. But I really think we had in a previous conversation, I really still like to know that there's a presence of a pepper there, because peppers were my passion before, and everyone's passion was the thing really in hot sauce before everyone decided to experiment with flavor and see what we could do to complement the flavor of the pepper and the heat of the pepper. So I kind of like the more more savory, the more stuff that you can actually still get the flavor of peppers. Mm-hmm. I don't mind sweet sauces, but when they get too sweet and you don't get the pepper anymore, I think that's when it's done. I'm done with it. It's a done deal. I mean, there's other stuff that can ruin a sauce, but I still kind of try to be like a purist. A little bit of vinegar with some peppers, and maybe a little bit of garlic and some salt, whatever.
Do you think that there could be some types of sauces or condiments I know you wouldn't call them a hot sauce, but maybe a spicy dessert sauce or something where peppers are not the primary ingredient. They just kind of add a little bit of flavor, a little bit of heat.
I think so. I mean, like, okay, peppers do not need to be limited to hot sauce, and before they started making hot sauce, they weren't limited to that. But I think everyone associates peppers with hot sauce, and I think today's manufacturers, like you guys got guys for like Johnny McLaughlin from Heartbreaking Dons, he makes a killer brownie.
Oh yeah,
a brownie, blondie, and a cookie.
The blondie is awesome.
Yeah. And
I love those.
Then you got Jeff Stevenson of Crazy Uncle Jester's. He makes a chocolate sauce called Afterburner. That stuff is amazing. Like last week in a fire, he had to come up and he's like, here's, he gave me some, I think it was a salted caramel ice cream with his Afterburner, and then a little bit of his Make Me Cough drops on top of it, and there, and we got like earlier, I let you try some sauces from Jungle Rain from Australia. Those are really fruity, and I put that on cheesecake, and I mean, like.
Oh, and the one we tried, I forget what the name of it, mixed berry. It was percentage-wise.
It was like 60-70% berry.
Yeah, mostly berry with just a little bit of buchaloki in there.
Yeah, I mean, people nowadays they're kind of going past they're finding new ways to use chili peppers, and it's awesome. I mean, they're trying to make it to where everyone has their taste satisfied, because not everyone wants the peppery, savory flavor that I might prefer. Someone might want something sweet. Someone might not. They like chilies, but they don't like them in hot sauces. They might like them, as a seasoning, like as a dried form, or they might like it in some other kind of, medium, so to speak, that will, they'll still be able to enjoy the flavor and the heat of a pepper, but they don't have to think, okay, I need a sauce, I'm going to have to pour this on. I think this industry, as much as it's not like mainstream yet, it's slowly going to make its way to where I think more people will maybe accept peppers. And not too long ago, I mean, like, okay, granted, the fiery foods industry is totally different from bacon, but like, look at where now you got TV shows about bacon, and you're slowly seeing more shows about fiery food shows and spiciness. People are now like, when they still some people might still think the habanero is the hottest. Now people are still thinking the ghost pepper is the hottest, but you hear more and more people knowing what the ghost pepper is. And I think it's only a matter of time when the mainstream are going to know about a Moruga scorpion, or know about a Carolina Reaper, or know about, all these other peppers that are out there. And I mean, it's only good for, the people that are in the field already making all these wonderful products.
Yeah, I think it might be some time before we see that, the extreme super hots, especially the scorpions. Now, what I like to point out to people as far as the growing acceptance of spicy foods is, look at snack foods nowadays. Just about every kind of snack chip has like a jalapeno version or a chipotle version. It's not just peppers anymore, they're just additional flavors.
Yeah, I mean, Doritos for a while, and I don't think here in St. Louis area, but perhaps maybe in other parts of the other markets, that they still have that habanero. I forgot
the fiery habanero. Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, that was it was a sad day when I couldn't find them anymore, because I'm not a big fan of Doritos, and that was the one I really liked. Then you got now you're getting to really see around our area the ghost pepper salsa by refresh my memory.
Mrs. Renfro's, you referring to?
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't do a whole lot of packaged salsa, so. But we were getting to see that in grocery stores around here, and it's usually, it used to be just a specialty store, because I know we have a big specialty store here in St. Louis for the fiery foods, and but you're beginning to see in your local grocery stores. You're also seeing habanero beef jerky at the gas station. Everyone knows about Red Robin, but now Red Robin's making a quote unquote ghost pepper sandwich. So we're getting there. I think like for a while like you said, it'll be a while before it's totally recognized, because just until recently everyone still just knew about habanero. And I think it's going to take a while, but once the ghost pepper gets out and about, we'll have that for a long time before. And there might possibly be another pepper, and this, and seemingly endless, race for who has the hottest pepper. That they'll finally recognize, maybe 10 years down the road, that we'll finally recognize the Trinidad Scorpion, aka Butch T, or the Moruga Scorpion, or any of these other peppers. I mean, they're still rare, even though a lot of us see the pictures all the time and grow them. They're still on a market, on a consumer basis, like the corporate basis, that's still going to be your jalapeno serranos and your habaneros are going to be the cheapest pepper out there, easiest to grow, blah blah blah. But I think they're now getting more prone to getting ghost peppers. I know where my fiance's from, it's big agriculture, like Fresh Express, your packaged salads. They produce a lot of stuff near Gilroy that does a lot of the garlic for the nation. They are now, like, from what I understand, taking a few acres and actually starting to grow ghost peppers there.
Interesting.
So you might start seeing, maybe a little bit down the road, maybe start seeing more packaged ghost peppers in your grocery store.
Well, I've already seen a few.
I know we seen the ones from, I saw them at Jungle Gems and then in Ohio. And then I know we got a grocery store here that sells diverse from all around the world.
Yeah, there's Jay's International. That's in St. Louis. No, last year I saw dried ghost peppers in Deerbergs, which is a St. Louis chain.
Yeah.
I don't shop there a whole lot, so I don't know if they're there every week, how plentiful they are. But when I saw those, I thought, okay, ghost peppers, they're becoming mainstream now. At least for, I guess, the general populace to cook with, not just the extreme Chileheads who happen to grow the peppers themselves and use them, but other people might be tempted to think, oh, I might, use one of these dried ones.
Well, it's really surprising, and I wouldn't, as far as me being living in St. Louis as well, I know more about Deerbergs than whoever's listening to this, but it wouldn't surprise me. The thing is it will be the day when you'll see ghost pepper, and how can I put this nicely, because I always think, whoever's running Walmart is the son of Satan, because I have such a high opinion of that place.
We love Walmart.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just put Walmart in people's minds, but they always want to get. I think they want to get more in the game of being competitive with other people, but I will really hate it the day that you'll be able to find ghost peppers, anything at Walmart, because, well, we could get into a political discussion, but I think that's when when we start seeing in places that are well known and all over the place, like Walmart, because granted, Walmart's everywhere from coast to coast, and I applaud the states that don't allow them in there, but if you see it in Walmart, there's quite enough demand for them to do it, because I think smaller stores, smaller chains are going to be more specialty, and you're going to find that kind of stuff in there, whether it be local grown or whatnot. You might find it in a Whole Foods or a Deerbergs or any other store before you see it in Walmart, because Walmart pretty much makes people produce at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
And sell it to them as per cheaper. So, and right now the ghost chili, as much as it's beginning to get, grown more, it's still not as easily, attainable as the habanero or whatever else. So I might be just rambling about ghost chilies, but anyways.
Well, you grow chilies yourself. What are some of the varieties that you grow? What are your favorites as far as flavor and heat go?
Well, this year I did the majority of my peppers were super hots. I grew the Butch Teas, the the Moruga Scorpion, the Sunrise. I grew a brown Scorpion, some yellow 7-pods, and I think my coolest peppers that I grew this year was my ahi pineapples and my black stinger habaneros. It's fine. You see all these people growing the latest, hottest thing, primos, ghost peppers, scorpions. But I kind of I will grow those just to say, yeah, I've grown them. I do like some of the flavors of them. Some of them they're just so very bitter. So, some of them don't really appeal to me as far as, okay, I grow them once, I've tried them. Because, You've seen my videos that I've done for Jim Duffy, and I think me and you did a video doing the Black Naga.
Yeah.
I've probably pretty much tasted every single pepper that's out there, unless it's a new cross or it's the newest pepper, the Carolina Reaper that's been making the news. But
Which is a good flavorful pepper. It has a lot of the floral, aromatic overtones, I guess, but and also kind of gets balanced out with the sweetness of a Buchalokia too. So it's like the best of both worlds if you like either one of those.
And I mean, like I'm a big fan of the ghost pepper flavor. I mean, like I don't think there's been a pepper that I really don't like. There's been peppers that I would prefer over others. I tend to gravitate more towards the yellow peppers, and it's not because I think there's less heat, because you tend to have more heat in the red and the brown peppers, more than you have it in the yellow, the green, and even the white peppers.
Yeah, simply put, the red ones are the ripe ones. So.
Yeah, and I honestly think the brown ones are even more hot than the red and ripe ones. But I really like the yellow ghost pepper and the fatales. I do like I thought the sunrise scorpion had a really good flavor, even though it has a vicious bite to it. Same thing with the King Nagas, which is almost exactly like a ghost chili anyways. Just a little bit bigger, just a tad bit hotter. The Moruga scorpions, they got a good flavor to them. Better flavor than the Butch T scorpions. My favorite pepper of them all is habanero. I mean, it's not too hot. And for the experienced chili heads, like both of us, it's something we can still get some heat from, but we can get, it's not so overly hot that it's gonna just scorch your palate. You're not gonna be able to appreciate the flavors of the pepper itself. And I think it's a little bit more versatile than going out and getting them, a Moruga scorpion and think we're gonna cook with it. Because granted, you see all these videos of people eating peppers. You see all these people saying, "I'm gonna cook with this." Yes, you can do that, but whose stomach's going to allow them to do that every single night?
Yeah, it's very hard to. You have to, I don't want to say use so little pepper, but compared to the other ingredients you're using, it has to be such a small amount, a small ratio of pepper for other ingredients. And you're right about the habaneros. You can use more of them because they are slightly lesser heat. I mean, to the uninitiated, they are very, very hot. Anywhere from 100 to 300,000 Scoville units on average. And they do have that great flavor. Overall, they're my favorite pepper. Just that nice, fruity, sweet, citrusy pepper. They have enough heat for me, but not too much, where it's not going to kill me if I cook with it regularly.
Yeah, and like you said, I think they're, for the more experienced people, that's the great, should be the go-to pepper. I mean, like, at least in my book, you got someone that doesn't really, dab into the fiery foods. They only do spicy every once in a while, and that's like maybe a slight taste of chipotle. I mean, like, chili heads are a rare breed where they can, kind of surpass what is hot for the mainstream and go past that. But I think at the same time, like recently there's been a craze of all these people making videos on YouTube and whatnot, and in actuality, they would never eat something that hot anyways. I mean, like, it's
realistically.
I mean, like, it's great, like they have that, tolerance to be able to say, well, this would taste like this. But even they know that they wouldn't eat it. A while back, Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chilies, he wanted me to make a bunch of videos and several other people to make videos to eat peppers and say, okay, this is what this flavor is like, but hell, it's hot as hell. But I talked to Johnny McLaughlin of Heartbreaking Dawns, and because Johnny was one of the individuals that got peppers from him, and we were like, you know what, we need to start showing people how to cook with these super hots, because I don't think anyone in their right mind would want to try a super hot. So I know some of us are not in our right mind, including myself, but I'm only halfway crazy.
And going back to the hot pepper videos, it's like half of them, when they eat the super hots, you see them going for glasses of milk afterwards. You see them throwing up. Is that realistically their everyday experience eating peppers? No, it's not.
No.
So you have to either know how to, I guess, cut down on the heat by cooking with them and adding them with other ingredients, or just use lower heat peppers like habaneros.
Yeah. And folks, the ones that see my videos, in the halftime when you did behind the camera, that was me drinking milk. I wasn't really throwing up, but because I won't lie, I can handle it, but after a certain point, even someone like me, I think there's only one or two people that could handle no heat. I mean, all this heat and like a champ. We won't name any names because everyone in the Chilehead community knows who they are. Well, okay, I'll drop a name. Hopefully, he'll get some I haven't heard anything about recognition from Guinness or anywhere about the records he did back in. Was it?
It was in May.
In May, but Steve Smallwood.
Yeah, Stephen Machine Smallwood.
Ate what? 8 ghost peppers and what? How many?
In a minute.
In a minute, and 8 Trinidad scorpions. Or were they Marugas?
There were 8 Trinidad Scorpion Butch Teas in a minute, all, with only an hour time between the two.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, as of this recording, September of 2012, it still hasn't been recognized by Guinness. I don't think it's been fully submitted, though. I mean, there have been some problems, and I do have to check into that. Well, speaking of Guinness, what are your thoughts on the whole chili pepper heat race?
I wish people would just knock it off, to tell you the truth. I mean, heat is pretty much relative after a certain point. Like, after, I would say, after 800,000 Scoville units, you can't really tell that much of a difference. Your mouth is on fire. You cannot tell how hot it is by putting it in your mouth. I read people on the internet saying, this is so much hotter when I test it by my taste. People only know the rating of these peppers. They would not know what's hotter than the next if it wasn't for tests saying, oh, this has this much more capsaicin in the pepper. But my thing is this. I enjoy super hots, I enjoy hots, I enjoy mediums, whatever, sweet bell peppers. And I enjoy it because of the flavor and the amount of burn that I get from it. I mean, I will not lie, I like the burn too. But I think everyone that has to come out with this new record is just looking for their one moment or a few months of fame. Because as soon as there's one record, it seems like there's another record right behind it. And it's nonsense. I really think, just appreciate what, nature has offered us. Stop trying to race to see which ones. I think it's a big race to get people's names recognized. And I really think people concentrate on too much of the record itself and not really the pepper and learning to appreciate it. I think it's like, here, look at me, I'm eating something hot, or I have something hot, and, as soon as someone finds something, they gotta go for a record. I mean, it's always going, we had the ghost pepper, and then those got beaten by 2 fluke peppers in the UK. And then, I'm sorry, people in the UK.
Yeah, there's great people in the UK.
Yeah, I mean,
there was only one Scoville test done on those, the Infinity and the Naga Viper.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not knocking. I love my UK homies. So.
Oh, there's a lot of great people over there.
So
they love chilies over there.
I mean, some of my favorite YouTubers are from that side, but that side of the pond. Then we had the Butch Tea, and then we had the Maruga, but it never got the Guinness. So right now, the Butch Tea Scorpion is still the Guinness World Record. And now we got Mr. Ed Curry out of, is he South Carolina or South Carolina?
Pucker Butt Pepper Company.
And he's come up with a new hybrid of his that he's claiming to be the world's hottest pepper, called the Carolina Reaper, the HB22B. And I know you had it, and I know there's been other reviewers like Ted Barris and a few others that might have had this pepper, and I haven't had it yet, to tell you the truth. But was considering I was a grower before I ever loved hot sauce, before I ever was a reviewer. I am more when it gets a little bit more recognition, a little bit more credibility. Like, I don't know the Scoville ratings on it. We haven't seen official documentation saying that this is what it's tested out at until I actually have seeds in my hands and grow the plants myself, and until I see the lineage of this pepper, because it's a hybrid pepper, and I want to know exactly, and not that I want to recreate it, because I don't do that. I just, I wait for something to be stable, and because there's people that, love to cross this with this and that, and I just what nature has given us, I say don't mess with it. But there's some people that like doing that, and that's They made some excellent apples that way, crossing other apples. But I guess somewhat of a purist when it comes to peppers. That's the thing with this new pepper. I'm not knocking it. I know from what I've read and from friends of mine that have dealt with Ed Curry or continue to. He's doing some good things just like for the community. I think he does like supports cancer. I'm not, research and whatnot. So I think his pucker butt company and the pepper sales are going to go towards helping that kind of stuff. Don't quote me because I don't know too much about Ed Curry's business. I just know more or less about the pepper. But I really think people need to just settle down with this, with trying to get the record, and I think they need to focus on showing the general public, not just the other chili heads, but the general public, this is what's so great about these peppers. Everyone's so worried about having the hottest pepper, I think with the amount of heat, you sacrifice flavor a lot of times.
Well, and you do, and it goes back to having to use less of the pepper since it's so hot. So you miss out on a lot of that flavor. And I can understand making money from the hottest pepper, your claim to fame. There's whole cottage industries built around those.
Yeah.
No one could just jump in and say, "Oh, I have a ghost pepper now," and expect everyone to clamor towards that. I mean, a lot of people are doing it because it's more readily available and they want a high heat sauce or something like that. Okay, well, kind of shifting gears here, let's talk about dream foods, dream products that you would have. In the whole fiery foods industry, can you think of anything, any type of sauce or product, or maybe some type of untapped territory of food that you think like hot sauce manufacturers should tap into? Do you think people should try chili peppers with this type of food?
Well, I can tell you what they should stop doing, but
and what should they stop doing?
Using extract.
Oh, I totally agree with you 1,000%.
I mean, like we have some companies out there, and they've made their name off of extract, and I will not name names, but you know who you are.
He does make very good pasta sauces.
Oh, I'm not even talking about him.
Oh, you know what? He does have. They're talking about Blair. He's a good guy. He has some very good tasting products, in my opinion. Of course, Ryan's entitled to his.
Yeah, I do love his jalapeno death and his original death. There's some and of course back when there was pretty much through the three big names now, which is Blair, K-John, and Dave. They made their debut. And back then it was like what I call extract heads. They wanted the hottest thing out there. It didn't matter if they were sitting on the toilet for a good day or two straight, and it didn't care if their taste buds seared. They want the hottest thing. So Blair, K, John, Dave, they gave it to them. So and Blair's done a good job of capitalizing on that and making a successful business out of it. So kudos to him. I'm not saying, but we still got people other than those three that are still using extract, and they still have failed to realize that chemical taste of extract. Yes, the extract brings you the heat, but it just ruins the flavor of a sauce.
99 times out of 10, it will completely ruin a product, I think.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wish. I don't really see that. I see nowadays people are gravitating towards getting more flavor in their sauces, so that's great. I don't see anything that hasn't been covered that I consume, and most your normal chili head would actually use on a day-to-day basis. I mean, now you see everything that, like, in fiery foods, you see everything. You see olives with, habaneros on them. You have dessert sauces, chocolate sauces. You got brownies. You got hot sauces, chicken wing sauces, barbecue sauces.
And just to interject, I think it was like 2 years ago at the Weekend of Fire, someone, and it wasn't a vendor, it was just an attendee, he brought in bags of ghost pepper cotton candy. And I don't know if you remember that.
I wasn't at that one. I was at the next one, but
yeah, and all he had was a sugar and a little bit of buchalokia powder, and spun it like how they make cotton candy, and it was good.
See, and that's the thing. Like I would actually get that because that just brings me back to my childhood. So something that brings me back to my childhood and satisfies my now older Chilehead cravings. That'd be awesome. Like, and that's the kind of stuff I see more and more people kind of like going past the barriers and they're going into some new stuff. Like we have there's a company, Madison Chocolatiers. Madison West
Chocolatiers,
and
very
they're
good company, yes.
they're the caramel stingers, the scorpion stingers, like caramel with some scorpion in it. Oh, it's to die for. I mean, it's a wonderful flavor.
And there have been a lot of confectioners, a
Yeah.
lot of chocolate companies who have integrated chili and chocolate or chili and candy. And I don't want to say they come and go. Personally, I would love to see that whole side of the industry explode. I love that combination. One of my favorite products is Cowgirl Spicy Chocolates, a spicy caramel sauce.
Mm-hmm.
It was my product of the year probably like 4 years back. I could just eat that straight out of the jar, just with a spoon. Just give me a jar every day, I would be a happy camper.
Yeah, and you'd also be probably about 100 pounds more.
I probably would be, yeah. Thank God. It is a little pricey, and I guess thank God for that.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you can't make it yourself, I guess. But I think everyone is just kind of like looking for new ways, and so far they've done a pretty good job of making products. I mean, we got candy that's hot. We got dessert toppings that are hot. We got popcorn. We got seasonings. I mean, like, I do have to give it to Chad Lowcock of Ray City Sauce Works. He is coming out with products that kind of you find these. He finds these. He's such a a foodie.
Mm-hmm.
First, and I think then he's also a Chilehead, really kind of raising the bar, so to speak. He's got a new tapenade that's great. He does like a Jamaican like ghost pepper jerk sauce that are good for the wings.
And we just had some of that tonight.
Yeah, we did.
And I had it a few years back, and to me it just didn't taste that hot for for a Jolokia one.
Well, I think it's because your tolerance is gone.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean,
It was a good flavor.
We probably would have gave it to the kids, and they would have been sticking their head in the toilet just to cool them down. But like I think like the thing is this: like some people they make stuff that is based around the heat, and some is based around the flavor with a touch of that heat. And I think Chad is one of those guys that he is such and like such a big fan of food and the way to prepare different dishes and the way to really stress the flavors of each individual ingredient, whether it be an actual pepper or it be like a yuzu fruit or whatever, or pomegranate or whatever. He is like, he's definitely a magician when it comes to flavors. I mean, it's just I don't think I've ever had any of his products that wasn't like magic inside your mouth. And that sounds kind of bad, but
And there are people like that, like Johnny McLaughlin.
Yeah, he's another
I'd
guy.
even put Crazy Uncle Jester in that category.
Oh.
And not everything he makes is a 5-star product, but people who just experiment and try to really bring out unique flavors. Personally, I want to see more of that in the fiery foods world. Not just, here's our version of Tabasco. Here's just a habanero sauce. I mean, thrill me, wow me.
And I think that's what really separates these guys from the pack. Because face it, like, the names that you hear and the names that you see, like, on a regular basis are the people that are, so much pushing the envelope. There's tons of people making hot sauces. There's tons of people making all these fiery food products. But unfortunately, I've said this many times in passing to people, I'm like, when, like as a reviewer, when is it that we're going to find something that's any different from the last thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you have people that go out of their way to make things differently, as far as, actually not trying to push out just another habanero sauce or whatnot. They're trying to make something new. They're trying to improve on what's already been done. That's what separates them. That's why you know of Heartbreaking Duns. That's why you know of K. John's. That's why you know of Crazy Uncle Jester's and all these other companies. There's some you'll never hear of again. I mean, like, there's some companies that I remember I loved back in the day, and they don't even exist anymore. And there's some companies that we know we're friends of now that don't seem to be doing as hot, as they were maybe last year when they had a little bit more passion. Or when,
Well, it's all cyclical. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have witnessed the whole fiery foods industry, a number of years, and we know hot sauce companies come and go. People who've watched the industry for decades have seen whole cycles where it seems like 1,000 new companies erupt on the scene, and then 800 of them just disappear within a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the nature of our business. People have full-time jobs, a lot of these people. So they make this stuff on the side. A lot of times they just don't have enough money. It doesn't generate enough revenue for them, unfortunately. It's sad to see some of our favorite products just disappear.
And that's why everyone needs to go out there and support these people, because, like Scott said, a lot of these people, like, they have full-time, 9 to 5, or some of them even work longer, and this is their passion, this is their business outside of their quote-unquote real job. So, and they put a lot of money and a lot of heart and a lot of sweat into these, and a lot of times they don't make a whole lot of money off of it, and but they have such a big passion for the fiery foods, that they continue to do it, and they want to push, they want to discover new things, and I think they're doing a great job. And I think everyone just needs to come in and support all these people, because people like K. John, people like Heartbreaking Don, the two, Johnny and Nicole at Heartbreaking Dons, and
Yeah, and there's lots of companies out there.
I just say it because those are kind of good friends of mine, but there's tons of them that are good friends of mine, but they have a 9 to 5 job. I mean, like, we got, Sam McCandless, he works on a dock, but he makes Zane and Zach's, if not my favorite, one of my top 5 favorite companies.
Yeah, Zane and Zach's World Famous Honey Company. People look them up at ZNZCo, ZNZHoneyco.com. And I'll put the links in the show notes.
And, he works on the dock over in, I think he's up in Washington, but he works long hours. And then he has to come home, and he's got 4 children, a wife, and, they go to all these shows, make all these products, and, same thing with, all these other people. Some of them are teachers, some of them are in the construction business, some of them are in the restaurant business, but they all do this because they have a passion for it, and they want to share their ideas, their experiences, and their art with other people. And I think, people, just need to support their favorites.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm hoping, that I can help people find their favorites if they haven't found them already in my reviews. I have my favorites, and I still buy their products, so I support them. They're my friends, so, and they make wonderful art that I could never even think about doing because I don't have the patience. So.
Yeah, it's like art for your tongue. Gotta
Yes,
think of it that way.
It's definitely art for your tongue, and I appreciate their hard work.
Yeah, I do too. And I tell a lot of people, and I'm not knocking like Tabasco and Heinz ketchup and companies like that, but you can go to the grocery store and pick up a bottle for a couple bucks. Or you could seek out some of these, companies that we've been talking about. And yeah, you may pay a few bucks more per bottle, but the thing is, it's going to make your food so much better in the long run.
Well, it's your choice. Do you want a Mercedes-Benz or do you want a Yugo?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want something that's made with craftsmanship, or do you want something that's just going to fall apart and make you feel empty inside? And I mean, like, I think when I think mass-produced isn't made with love, and I think that's what Tabasco is. I'm sorry, it's good. It was good back in the day, but I think the whole fiery foods industry has shown that there's more than just vinegar and a little bit of pepper and
salt.
So, I mean, go out, support your local hot sauce and fiery foods companies. Pay attention to all the blogs. Just, sometimes I think we actually do say something useful. And
every once in a while we do, yeah.
And support all of them, because they do this for everyone, and they do this for the same passion that all the Chileheads, share. So I mean, it's definitely worth everyone's while, because the more you support them, the more they're able to maybe offer something new next year, because you helped keep their business going. So buy all their stuff a lot. So, anyways, I'll stop rambling.
With that having been said, Ryan, thanks a bunch for talking with me
Well,
today.
thank you. I'm always willing to talk. I'm never short of words. Just
Which is why I asked Ryan to speak.
Just light a fire under my butt. I'll just blah 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 blah. So, it's been nice talking to you, and we'll definitely do this again.
This wraps up yet another installment of the weekly Firecast. I want to thank again Chef Bud Selmi of Sizzlin Sauces for joining me. You can find his products at sizzlinsauces.com. And I'd also like to thank Ryan Graub for talking with me. His main website is rgsaucereview.com. As usual, I'll put the links in the show notes. And if you'd like to visit my blog, you can do so at scottrobertsweb.com. I maintain a hot sauce, chili peppers, spicy food, barbecue blog. I review tons of products, like to give coverage to all the fiery foods that I love. And I encourage everyone to stop over there and take a look and see what I've done over the years, and it's a lot of fun. I'd also like to invite everyone to like my Facebook page at facebook.com/ScottRobertsWeb, or you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ScottRoberts. I'm also on Pinterest, YouTube, Google+. Just do a search for me, Scott Roberts, or scottrobertsweb.com, and I'm sure that you will find me. And I'd like to remind everybody, if you love the show, please spread the word. If you know of other hot sauce fanatics out there, Chileheads, barbecue freaks that might enjoy the show, please tell them about us. It is highly appreciated. Well, I guess that's it. Not much more to say, so until next time, remember, keep it burning.
This has been the Weekly Firecast. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast via iTunes or at the official website at scottrobertsweb.com/weeklyfirecast. The Weekly Firecast is part of the Two Guys Talking podcast network. For more information on other great Two Guys Talking programming, you can go to twoguystalking.com. That's the number 2, guystalking.com. Thanks for listening. And remember, keep it burning.